Good evening. It is now 11 o'clock straight up. I just woke up. So woke up in time. I have an hour left on Thursday. Anyway, before I fell asleep, I was reading somewhere about we're slowly poisoning American food supplies. And I got it out of the Market Watch. And they're thinking that the Americans' big worldwide farming it's not working, and by 2015 there's something like a billion or so. But anyway, I couldn't find the article after I woke up. And then they were talking about a average. I was just reading, and that's probably why I fell asleep. It was like a average American has gotten a 0.5% raise since 2008, all like in December and January. Anyway, I fell asleep, so I was gonna take notes, but but the thing is that they were talking. I was like reading the article about the food, and the main problem is like things are heating up. That they're like the GMOs and all this other stuff that they have gone to. It doesn't work as well as the farming and they had did before. I say Caucasian people showed up, or European whites. They don't know how Caucasian they really are. You know, this is my little man. It's probably actually considered Caucasian. The others, yeah, they didn't have borders. Anyway, it's been like Quiet Friday. I guess the Sabbath is over. But right through it. Now anyway, and because I was thinking about I am hungry. I'm chicken out too, because I had chicken before I went to sleep. I was eating, and I just had some potatoes and chicken and leftover spaghetti, and there was some sausage in the spaghetti still, Italian sausage. So I was just eating a few things. Because I have a few days until when I go grocery shopping Monday, so pretty much this time my list is going to be real easy because it's pretty much everything. So that's not so hard. But the thing about there was another article I was reading too about this guy that was delivering drugs over the internet, and I guess he was using something like a TUR. I'm not sure. I've never heard of it. But anyway, it was a special thing where you could, like, you plug it up to your computer, or you have it installed in your computer, and it's hard for people to locate you. But the reason why they found out, he was bragging to everybody that he was trafficking drugs, that he was a criminal, you know, and it was word of mouth. I guess people forget about their mouths, but I guess he's getting ready to do 20 to life. And there's a lot of stuff on the internet that I don't even go to. I don't go to the XX sites or anything like that. And I know, like, I was on the bus, and you know, now everybody has, like, I guess they get it through Cricket. They're all on Facebook, and they have like almost like the same looking cell phone. My cell phones are actually like, I got like, because if you get 4 that are you're not using anymore, you could take it to where you take your metals and get paid for it, and some computer parts. Anyway, but my I don't use my phones anymore, but they all have the phone now, and I'm like, now I know why people, you know, some people, you know, like headphones, because like, I guess they feel like, well, we have to share with you. Like, when I was at the dentist's office, one lady, like, I already had seen the news that morning, so I guess she was like, it was just popping on, and I don't even remember what was going on Wednesday that was also engulfing. I think, it was the crash in New York, where the lady stayed on the tracks in a plane crash, which the airplane situation in the Asian area, I still think they're sabotaging because the Asians are really, they have a middle class now compared to ours. Because who was it this fucking undercover policeman? I guess his son's one too, but he has a patch on that says he's with the fire department. So I'm like, you're with the fire department? He's like, no, it's an old patch. And I'm like, well, you were with the fire department. He's like, no, it's an old patch. So I couldn't. So the conversation went null and void right away. And the next thing I remember is that he was insulting me. He's called me a bum. And I was like, a bum? He goes, yeah. How come you're old like that, like you are? How come you're like you are? You must be on crack. And I'm like, I must be on crack. And I was like, you know what? You fucking insulted me. And anyway, there's the old guy that I went to visit had a cane, so I picked up the cane. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, just shut the fuck up. Like, you're insulting. So he's like totally baffled. Like, what did I say? No clue. Because they actually, because I see the women around here, they try to tell you like that's how they act. Like the guy insults you, like, oh, you insulted me, my panties are wet, oh, please insult me more. And I'm looking at him, and he goes, yeah, you're a crackhead. I'm like, you know what, whenever I did coke, I probably dropped more than what the fuck you guys are bringing up in this motherfucking neighborhood. But anyway, so I guess he was supposed to be like a policeman. But they so insulting, and that's the only reason they can't figure out like how that they're a policeman. Nobody else nobody else comes up to you like, oh well, you're a crack prostitute. It's like, I've never had sex with you or any of your friends, but yeah, whatever. You look like, yeah, and somebody's like, you heard what he said? I'm like, yeah, I heard him. He got me confused with his mother. He heard that and he goes, you better not say another thing about my mother. I'm like, what about your fucking mother? The fuck? I got up on, and he's like 6'2", I'm supposed to be intimidated. I got him in his face. I was like, did I do something fucking to you? Did I do something to you? He's like, no. And then he turned around, and then I backed up, right? But I didn't turn around. I backed up, and he turned around in his car. And I was like, so help me. That bitch, when he fall down, what I'm saying, because they're not in as good as health as they think they are because of the food, and that goes back with the food supply. You know what I'm saying? These guys are big and they're huge, but they don't have the muscle tone. Most of them have breasts bigger than me, so I don't know what the big attraction it is now to a lot of these guys with the breasts when they just have to take down their shirts. I mean, for some reason these guys are getting very huge breasts, and I think a lot of it is like they call it lifting weights, but I notice if they do it wrong, what I'm saying, they're going to end up in their 50s with basically breasts. But I mean, but anyway, we'll see what's going on. It's getting harder and harder to get. Well, it's not as hard as it was like really in the late 80s to the mid 90s, getting around, because like this area was so devastated. Like, I think the guy next door, I think he got robbed because the guy that used to live over here and rob all the time, Larry Jones. Well, I guess he's good friends with the police. I don't know what part of like fucking with me was gonna, put his name on any deed or anything for property. He already lost his property with the police, just like Sonny James is he keeps paying his taxes on it, but he's gonna lose his property. He keeps fucking with it. Thinking the police are helping him. But anyway, I guess the reason why he came over here acting all big and bad because the house got broken in again. And Larry Jones was like he lies. I guess he's like what I call he's the one that stands out looking, and everybody's like, oh well, he's just an alcoholic. Well, I know if he comes on the corner over here, and he's like acting all drunk or whatever, it's like because they'll have a cell phone, and if he sees the police or something, he's really on the cell phone. He'll be like there with one shoe sitting on the curb, or whatever. He might not be drunk yet. But anyway, he calls out. So anyway, I guess this house and another house must have got broken into. And so I guess he went next door to ask Rick about it. Rick, old lady, don't want him knowing nothing about me. She's nice and everything. Actually, they're nice, but you know, I don't. As nice as they could be. I feel sorry for Rick because his son's in prison for the rest. I think for like I don't know, a long time, mostly for the rest of his life, for killing a guy. He just came out of juvenile. He graduated from juvenile as a murderer. But I think anyway, it's sad because Rick's father, you could tell, had taught him a lot, and then the culture's changed. So it looks like here was all like before, like when Rick was growing up and my mom and all this. This was all farm. This was everybody was self-sufficient. Probably the only reason why you needed to go to the white man's store was probably to get salt or sugar. Other than that, you might not even get your own sugar because like they had like most people use molasses, which comes from. But you get sugar from anything. I promise you. Corn, a lot of stuff, but they had maple trees and anyway, they were self-sufficient. So I think it was the number one thing you probably had to get was salt. Probably the only thing. They even made their own clothes and everything until like they made it something to be shameful. Picking cotton. Like 'cause I hear a lot of people like they're talking about black people, we were all like sharecrops. Not our family. We lived on the land before the white man came, and we was able to keep a little bit of it. And now there's even more that they just take. Just build a highway. They got messed up highways and messed up bridges all over Memphis. We got giant potholes that you could fit people in, but they're gonna go through like old family property and just take off half of it. But a lot of it is that a lot of black people, like our family, like for some reason we went to Protestant for some reason after they killed like the grandfather in front of everybody, and they went to Protestant. So when the Protestant came, we were too dark anyway. They didn't want like people, I don't think, really our complexion. But the church that they go to in Olive Branch is Protestant. It's all white. It was like the only one. They had a bunch of Russians. They always bring in Russians in. And the same thing happened to me when I was in Kansas. They had a bunch of Russians and they were studying how the capitalists, work. They was like showing, like they really hate that. Well, they come in and they just come in and get money. That's all I know. And then a lot of, but and I know like they're not. What I'm saying? I don't think that the politics and their financial situation in Russia is that is stable, cause like at all. So like, and I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know like a lot of Russians when I was in New York and whatnot. It just depends most. But the thing is that when you bring in outside people that are still living in that country, what I'm saying? They didn't come over here really, I mean, I don't think they even, and I don't think they see a difference like we do with the color of race when they're coming over to attack Americans. Personally, I stay the fuck out of their way. I'm like, I'm not impressed. Because that's part of the thing. They're calling you got to be impressed. So like, I'm not impressed. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but I don't have any money, so that usually works for Russians. I don't have any money. Not for Americans, because there's a lot, like this neighborhood is so poor, what I'm saying, that it was devastating. That little $11 they took last year out. Everybody's acting like, oh, that was nothing. But you could see over the year, how things have changed with the people's behavior, and we're just talking up. I hope Gene a beer. I have to bring this. They're probably awake. He's up. You know, in a wheelchair, and his brother's up. They're up. Like, it doesn't matter. They're not up in the daytime. I noticed when I knock on the door. And they got like a pit bull that's so white and it barks. It looks so mean, and like I feel bad because I'm like, get out of my way, you ugly bitch. She moves, but she looks real tough and real mean. And I'll be telling them, I'm scared of it. I'm scared. And they're like, oh, shut up. But the dog's always at the door, but it always moves out the way. But I feel bad because of the way I talk to the dog. And then, like, the other day, it actually, it wants to get pet. Same thing with Oreo. So, like, Polly that was born on the yard, one time she stuck her head on my hand. I wasn't expecting it, and she was still sort of young, sort of like a teen pup. And I jumped and I screamed. So like every time I come near her, she jumps. But like Oreo, she ended up like she insisted she wanted to get pet, so I pet her. And then that white one, he wanted to get pet. I'm like, ugh. So I petted it. But anyway, there's nobody home. They have like 2 pet bulls, and like they look vicious and everything. But I feel bad because like since they look so vicious, I just call them ugly. It's like, you're ugly. The dog, I swear to God, the dog, like, I hurt his feeling. Anyway, we'll see. I'm real concerned about our food supply. I'm happy that we got overboard. The Americans have gotten an increase in the amount of money that we're bringing in, 0.5% in December and January. It's a little, but it's better than nothing. And with the gas prices, and I don't know if they're still down since I don't drive, but I saw like $1.95, which opposed to what it had been, things have changed, and we'll see how the food, like how they're actually saying we are, and I can't find that article anywhere. I think I even went back into I never knew there was. The Market Watch had so many articles in it or whatever, but in a sense I do believe we are poisoning, because like when they were doing cotton, they put cyanide or something on so that soil, you can't really grow, like you can't really grow a lot of other things. There's a lot of things that they did. It's a lot, and a lot of lies. I remember my Uncle Roy, may he rest, Uncle Roy Boyce, he rest in peace. He was talking about Uncle Roy. Doesn't sound right. Yeah, not Roy. But anyway, he used to talk about. He goes, this is like the 4th time they done changes to history. You know what I'm saying? He goes, each time, what I'm saying, we are. I think this is just before everybody became African Americans, because each time they got those coming straight up out of Africa, because probably, he goes, more likely came straight up out of South America, right here where the border is. You know what I'm saying? Because like before the white man came on, they didn't recognize borders like they do now. See, the hard part about traveling was the traveling. The time that it took to go, and that was the only thing that kept a lot of people stable, because you couldn't get on an airplane and be there in 3 or 4 hours. Of course, in my world, I couldn't get on an airplane and be there. If it's a 3-hour flight, they tell you to be an hour at the airport, and then you got to be a little while afterwards. Which I hate being around that many people. I hate going up in the air. That's why, like, if it's like a 3-hour flight, I'll rent a car. Cause like I figure, like if it's like, say like, because like, like if it's 3 hours, let's say it's 5 hours by car, or 6 hours by car. I figure I get there quicker and I got a car. You know what I'm saying? Unless you can fly and afford to rent a car and a hotel, you know what I'm saying? It's way pricey out. There's no way. Just drive up in a car up to your relative's house and just like, I'm hungry. I know you got something up in here. But anyway, I'm gonna. Actually, I'm up. That's cranberry juice. It's good. But it's mixed. It's mixed. It's like creme grape and cranberry with grape. Anyway, I'm just babbling. That's what I get for waking up. But just realize that we do have a problem with our food supply. That it would behoove us all just to do a little indoor farming. It won't be enough to suffice a person. But I kept thinking about this lady over in Gaza. Was it Gaza? But she was a Muslim, and they've just bombarded that area. There's just lob bombs over there, and they couldn't get any food in or anything, and they started a rooftop farming, and they was able to survive on what they had, I guess, on the rooftop. Here there's such a stigma. People don't really, farm. I don't know. Like I was gonna treat myself to something to eat. Let me see if I still got the menu. And because I went around. I was like, I didn't know what I want. While I was out when I went to the dentist, I was gonna get me something after the dentist, but I didn't think I was gonna pull that tooth, but I changed my mind. But anyway, I just, the prices, now that I cook and I haven't went out, this is a barbecue thing, and I don't have my glasses. It's a real little, a lady friend of mine. She works in Near East in the internet. It's a barbecue place. Interstate. Damn, I need my glasses. But they priced me back right out of there. But yeah, I might if I have my mom. I forgot my mom's supposed to be coming here. It's getting soon. I gotta get a bedroom ready. Finish painting that room and get. I have a bedroom set up, but I don't know how many people are going to be here, so I got to set up the other bed. That just reminds me. But anyway, I'm like, I can't afford to eat out anymore at all. It's really got pricey. You know what I mean? Just like one of their sandwiches, like almost $8. So I'm like, forget about it. Anyway. I'm getting ready to go fix me something to eat, because I don't know what time I fell asleep. I think it was about 4. So I'm wide awake. Well, not really. I'm just hungry. I'm going to make me something to eat. You know what it is? Still Friday for about 35 minutes. Fish Friday. Clown. So stick something in the oven here. I don't know what to go with it. Melody of veggies. But I think that by 2050, if they don't change the way before then, I think that's pretty optimistic. I think that I think that in the next 10 years, if we don't have awakening to where we don't change the way drastically way we are teaching our children, if we don't go back to being a little self-efficient, what I'm saying? I don't think that we're going to take all the money out of the 1%, if people start growing a little like snap peas or butter squash or what have you, eggplants or greens, or what I mean. If you start doing a little bit, I'm waiting on my butter beans to come up. So I got some sweet potatoes in a box, and I have a place out back where I have put like white potatoes. The only problem, I haven't been able to get to it because there's some type of these wild strawberries, and they got these really prickly, like tiny thorns that stick in you. It's impossible. So I hate to have to. I'm thinking about spring, just have somebody mow that over for me. Go in there and just get rid of that. Because even though there's wild strawberries, forget about it. Can't even get to the strawberries. But what I'll do is, there's other type of strawberries. I'll buy some strawberries because they sort of like to grow where they could drain proper. It's just having a right place to put everything. And then around here they might not grow it, but you know, they're such thieves. Everybody's such a thief, and it's mainly because they're so poor, you know, and they want to keep up on the material things. And it's expensive. I mean, I can't really afford anything. And like to me, I don't wear jewelry or anything like that. And people always like it. So no matter how poor they are, if you got a nickel more than them, like wow, you got something they might want. So anyway, but I gotta retract some stuff because I thought that like there was just really. Like this place really, there might be like some exception to how devastating this type of racist has oppressed some of these people. There might be one or two exceptions that they weren't that grew up here that are not so. I want to say so tragically. Oppressed with such a dislike for themselves, you know, like, because it's funny, because like, in like really like the first time, like, you know, I got around like a lot of black people when I was in New York, because like I was just around a lot of mixed people, like a lot of everybody, not just white, you know, Puerto Rican, whatever, you know, a melody, nothing like Friends on TV, you know. Everybody was not white. Now they have got a bunch of Midwest white people moved up in New York, you know, moving into Harlem. Only got most of the black people out of Harlem. But anyway, there are some people that are not as devastated. I'm gonna go eat. I'm down to having tuna salad with crackers. I'm down to like, let me whip something up and open up a can, squirt some mayonnaise, a little sweet pickle around, like da-da-da-da-da. Anyway, I'm too tired. I'm baffling, but it's sad. It's just sad here because, like, you know, I am. You know what I'm saying, I am real poor. but like I have people like they're like, oh, you got all this, you got all that, and like they're working. You know, they're working to keep to make all those payments. And they can't afford. They send their kids to school, like, cause the dentist, his son, I think his son didn't follow in his foot, and he looked disappointed. It's in New America. Let me go. Just think that slowly we're poisoning our food. That a lot of it is like from really it's getting like a little too hot, you know, to maintain the food supply, and then with the pollution, you know, and you could just think of like all the things that we do, the plastic bags that we do, the plastic bottles. You know what I'm saying? Over here, like, oh, I went walking. I'm going to have to give me a camera so I could take walking. Where they tore down 2 houses on the next street over. And I know it's the city that dumped that shit right on the pathway, like the empty spot, because it's supposed to grow over. But it's on the way, you know, I guess they wanted to block off people cutting over. But anyway, they just dumped all their trash there, just all the damn trash there. And the neighbors are real paranoid. That's another thing, is like the neighbor across the way, he's real paranoid watching me. He's got his back, instead of the light on Gillis Street, back on actually he could shine his floodlights on, cause like on the house back there on Gillis, that's a crack house, and now I can see how like a lot of these empty houses end up crack houses, because it's really the politics and the policing that they do is self-destructive. Because I had a guy the guy Brock had been in there 50 years paying rent, right? You know, as soon as I go like trying to get another guy out so Brock can get back in there when he's in a nursing home, You know, if cops just think I'm a fucking, they just think I'm a crack whore. But even if I am a crack whore, I don't understand why that they don't have to do their job. What does that have to do with them doing their fucking job? You know what I'm saying? Which I'm not a fucking crack hoe. It's the only, and they should know because they're the only ones that fuck them around here. Like that little girl Niecy, what we call Niecy, she's like, we're all like the ones like that are my size. They really try to fuck over. She's like a little shorter than me. She's like a whole 5 foot tall bitch. Nah, I'm taller. I'm 5'2", bitch. Anyway, I tell everybody I'm 5'3", but anyway, she's real dark, and I guess she always hangs out in front of the store on the corner there. Now she got her daughter hanging out there. And I noticed, like, the only people, she now, that she was living on Harahan, but she lost her house over here. I guess prostitution doesn't pay all that well. But nobody, you know, who knows? Anyway, so now she's, like, back. I don't know what happened with her. But the only people that she was really, like, having business with, where she thought she was like, oh, a big time prostitute, and this is really, you know, like a job career thing, advance. Police and undercover cops, because I think they find out information. So like from that bitch can't stand me, right? Because like I've always had that problem, like, you know, active prostitutes for some reason just can't stand me. Just you know, like they always say shit like, if I looked like you, I'm like, what? Yeah, I'd still be poor. What the fuck? You know, you think I mean anyway. And plus, like, you have opportunities, but you know, like, you make decisions, cause you know, I was thinking today about when Deborah Ruth showed up in my house, and you know, like, I hadn't had any communication with any like people, like talking to anybody, and never had anybody come in my house since like she had been over my house. But it was only because, you know, my behavior was acting out just of the you know, the only thing I knew, like, you know, the people that was around me. It wasn't appropriate, and you know, my mom just shoved this out, and it was so strange, you know what I'm saying. But by then, my only, you know what I'm saying, because like I knew like a lot of us in our situations when we were young, we really wanted somebody to come save us, but that wasn't what people saw, you know, until they got into it, and then, you know, then they died. So that was sad, but they was greedy. It was sad. I mean, not only Michael, I'm talking before Michael, I had seen, which during that, like right around that time, I had seen some very disturbing, ugly stuff, because like people, anyway, it's ugly. And I allude to some stuff with the Illuminati, but you have to understand the type that they are with in the sex industry, and the pedophiles and the perverts, and they were in the music, and then they had the X-rated movies. Was basically, back then it was just watching basically rape, and in prostitution, where they had them like up on Fifth Avenue. And the thing about it is that the way the story goes, okay, that in the Egyptian time they had taken balls off of certain guys. Well, the actual Egyptians had, like, the ones that were actually had all the power and all the money. Well, not all the power, but had all the knowledge. They left. Like the guys that had no balls, and military guys there, because the military had got out of hand with their ignorance, and they're being paid with with sex. So it caused the problems. Like, this is the Romans. So the guys that didn't have the balls, they ended up in a position where, like, okay, these empty houses that, you know, that we're living in, we're still there. The rest have left, even though they took everything, you know, basically with them when they left, supposedly. I don't know, this is like 550, I say, whatever, right? So, anyway, so they ended up in the whole thing that in the whole thing fell apart, like the whole anyway, but the guys still had been in the Egyptian and had been around the learned people, and they had learned stuff that enabled them to survive. And the only problem with their survival is that they ended up like these guys that were used for sex ended up just wanting to have sex with guys. And so anyway, so like you go back later on and you still have some that were like in the church in that mentality, or they became a church. They became a church. And anyway, they became the church. And because like a lot of people, because like the church provided a lot of information to for the people during that time in the wartime and stuff like that, where you could go, like they had the big structures and everything. So like, but like they would have like, they took like, you sacrifice like the Egyptian, they didn't sacrifice like what they're thinking like with people. What they did was like, it's sort of like with the rabbi when they slaughtered and drained the blood and everything. They didn't eat meat a lot. They ate a lot of fruits and vegetables, stuff that they could grow, stuff you could forage, mushrooms, wild garlic, whatever. But meat was not that often. And they had understanding that they were animals too. It wasn't nothing to be ashamed of or anything. It wasn't, And the women were held very highly and not worshipped, but they had a lot of children. They were able to have children easier. I think before the white people came along, and then they got the bigger heads and there's some ripping and tearing because of crossbreeding. Well, and anyway, it has a lot to do with the head size. But anyway, so as the story goes, is that finally they had got into power during during the war. They could stay in power because they actually had educated people, and they would just pretty much was able, like, because of the war, recruit, keep getting guys in there because, like, maybe they're starving. They can change over to from being the law of the jungle to like the law of the white man. So like they no more city living opposed to having freedom, living free. You're living in the city and you're occupied. So they would they wouldn't have many choices. So anyway, so the story goes is that their whole plan is that they were going to keep, the men power. That's why they stepped on the woman's neck. But they were going to keep men power. They were going to clone. Clone men, right? They actually did it. Like I think in the 50s, did a cloning of a sheep or something. But anyway, I guess for some reason, it didn't work that well. But the whole thing is that these guys' ideas had started off from a corrupted, mean, cruel thing that should have never been done to them. And instead of stopping the pain and stopping it, and everything else, they started thinking that they was like the devil, like they the dark power. And that's what gave them the control. Anyway, so can you imagine that you have like a bunch of guys running around with like all thinking that their powers comes from like a misguided and misinformation. So now instead of like slaughtering like a goat or something, like the like a few times a year, like they would. Like it'd be a few times a year that you would slaughter something like a big ox or a big buffalo, or and it was a matter of knowing how to cure and keep the food. That was another story because I saw like a lot of these like when they came here, they saw like they were using a lot of the food in a different way, and they couldn't figure out how they were preserving it, you know. But I guess if you have to be anyway. But can you imagine that you have a group thinking that that they have to get children sexually acclimated by the age of 6, because like you want them, like, why they still blame themselves, self-blame, like, because that's why it works so good in Ferguson to blame the victims, because they've been victimized. If you could chastise and twist the woman's head, because like you gotta understand that that in one time it was more seemed before, like in 500 whatever, or before the white man came even here, that the women sort of ruled things. It wasn't like we really ruled things. It's just that our children, we were such, you know what I'm saying, we had to, our survival depended on us being good parents. Simple fact. Now our survival doesn't depend on us being good parents. It depends on us being very submissive to the oppressed, double-binding, hypocritical world that we live in now, where you go to work. So it's more so at a time where we're seeing that our dependence on the 1% for their supplies, be it internet, cell phone, the cars you buy, you know, getting a loan at the bank for homes and all this, has inhibited us in such a way that I think we're mutating to becoming not such a dominant species. I think their whole thing where the men gonna rule is ended up to where right now we're in chaos. And don't worry, because like they are very happy and satisfied as long as they get to have some illusion of what they think is pretty. And I know my look is not what is considered attractive. I don't have the American, you know, next girl look, you know. I don't have the blonde hair or blue eyes, you know. And I'm here to tell you, there's some blonde hair and blue eyes. I don't know if there's enough plastic surgery in the world for you. I mean, I'm sure I could use plenty of plastic surgery. If I had the money, I would not be doing it anyway. But when we get off the internet, just remember, our food supply is in danger, our air is in danger, our water is in danger, and our soil is in danger, and it's all caused by our behavior, our politics. You know, it's our doing. And the only change I see that would really make a positive is if we bring art and we bring education back to the kids. Because I don't see how we can survive. I don't know. But like, you know, like, and plus like what, like the Rothschilds and all them, then they have children. I think they think they're going to go to the moons or somewhere. I think they found some more planets with water on it. I don't know, like going there. Like, I'm just here to say, not me. But like, I can see where they might try to drag. Personally, I think there's some other ways of doing things, but it's not anything that they'll be able to comprehend, because it would be very nice and very pleasant. It's not going to be rough or hard. So anyway, hold on for the ride. Is this gonna be a lot of shaking going on with that fracking? A lot of shaking. Shake, shake, shake. I think I need to go back to sleep. Good night.